Hello and welcome back to round two coverage of the 2024 Long Island Open presented by Long Island Disc Golf here on Heiser Media, coming from Heckscher Forest Disc Golf Park in East Islip, New York. I am Adam Walsh and I am joined by Mike Berrell.
What's going on, Adam?
I am enjoying the coverage so far. Round one was fantastic. We had some really hot shooting. Josiah jumping out to a very significant lead at -9. Just an absolutely terrific round. And Antonio and Phil, who were with us in round one, are going to be joined by local legend Kevin Hutchins. And I am looking forward to the second round. What are your thoughts, Mike?
Excited to see what Hutch brings to the kind of round, changing out that dynamic a little, and curious to get to see him play. And Josiah again going with that clean first round. I'm curious to see if he can keep it up.
Absolutely. We're going to kick it off on hole one. It's a 568 foot par 4, averaging 392. So one that you're really hoping to at least secure the par on to keep you even with the field. Josiah rips one, finds a really clean center gap there. I'm hoping that that's going to finish far enough back to the left to give him a clean up shot. We'll see if Antonio can find the center of the fairway. A lot more hyzer and down the middle line. He does seem to beat one of the guardian trees there that you'll often find yourself under, but he'll have an interesting angle of approach for his second shot. Phil Rascona rounding up third on the tee. And I think he's going to put himself up there by the red tee about halfway down the fairway. Not too bad, but not quite as far as he wanted to push it. And Hutch with a little too much turn is going to find himself in a similar spot.
Same tree.
Here's Phil first to act. Just behind the red tee. Tries to get something turning that'll drift down the center gap. It's high. It finds some branches. But it does make it past all the trouble. Should be an easy up and down. Hutch kicked back more towards the left side of the fairway. Going to have a little more hyzer angle to work with. Needed some more height on that. I think, again, he's put himself in a good position to get up and down, though.
Josiah wound up with a great second spot there, or first spot there.
Yeah, he tried for an interesting approach there on the second shot, trying to drift one down a left-hand gap there. Comes up a little bit early. He'll have to get himself up and down. And I was wrong. Antonio was behind that big guardian tree there, so it forced a really difficult angle. Caught some trees, but he found a safe landing zone to hopefully get up and down for the par.
Oh, sneaks by.
I'm sure that's exactly how he drew it up.
Of course.
Let's see if Josiah uses some more of the airspace out to the right here. Does, and he plops it down inside the circle. Ooh. Phil scared the basket there, gave it a really good chance. Hopefully it didn't run too far long. I think he should be okay with the comebacker. And Antonio doesn't seem to want to give it the height it would need to go in. He's going to have to settle for the par there. Great putt to clean up the par. And what did we say this hole? 392 average. Thankfully, our lead card here not doing anything to make that average any higher. Everybody's able to clean up for the pars, and we will head on over to hole 2.
So we got hole 2, 396 feet. Super straightforward. The basket's tucked away behind those trees at the end. OB on the left-hand side. You just got to kind of be aware of that. And we had some nice placement on the first round. Let's see what they do on the round 2.
Still see those branches moving. Josiah flies it down the right-hand side of the fairway, has a good, strong hyzer finish. Very nice. Hopefully that ceiling isn't too low that he can't get a look at the chains from there. Antonio up next. A little bit more central on the flight, but he's got some extra turn on it. Drifts it over to the right before it finishes back. Squeaks under the branches inside the circle. Phil's going to take it down the right-hand side. Maybe a little too much turn there. Looks like it's going to finish up, but I think he is in exactly the same spot as he was in round one. If you missed round one, please make sure you go back and check out the coverage so you can see all the action here from the Long Island Open. Hutch gives it a good spin. Like the height. Like the finish. Squeak under the branches. Pretty close.
And a little bit, off to the side. Hopefully he doesn't have that blocked at all by those branches hanging down.
Yep. Phil sends it through the branches like they aren't even there. Pushes it just long of the basket. Stays inside the circle. Josiah forced to take a knee and lay it up. Hutch with a slightly better chance, but puts it under the basket. And here's Phil coming back for the par. No problem. It looks like there'll be a deep, deep discussion about who's next to act. Determined to be Antonio. You like to see a full routine. Every putt out here counts as one. You don't want to drop something just because you weren't paying attention. And Hutch able to finish up as well. One more tap in from Josiah, and we're going to head over to hole 3. Antonio with the birdie, the rest of the card with par. And the hole did average slightly over par, so good on the birdies. Hole 3, 320 feet. OB on the left-hand side, woodline on the right-hand side. You really just want to throw something absolutely pin straight down the middle. Let's see if Antonio can show us the line. Based on the reaction, he didn't love it, but he put himself up to that near bunker. Plenty of routes to the basket from there. Shouldn't have too much trouble. Josiah finding a little more height, gets the turn on it. It's going to hyzer out. Again, back into that bunker tree. Made it past there, but probably going to have a hard time aiming at the chains from that location.
Phil taking that outside line like round one.
Yeah, again, another hole that I encourage people to come on out and stand on and see what you think about that line. That was beautiful.
That's what he was going for the first time.
Oh, that was a fantastic play.
That is so much distance to get there.
Yeah, hole plays 320. That shot played 450. So, good luck throwing it. Hutch coming up a little short. Is going to have to slide something around the outside here. The ground did not seem to do him any favors there. I think he was expecting that to shimmy a little further to the left. Josiah giving it a chance. Nice. I was wrong. I was wrong about the ceiling. Wind that back. Tickle the leaf.
Made it work.
Deep in the chains. Great putt, Josiah. That was a nice one to capture from a great angle there on the catch cam.
Beautiful.
And Antonio making good. I apologize, folks. I thought he got stuck in the bunker bush and trees back there. He slid back out to the opening, had a clean look, and made a really nice putt. Great birdies. Good par there from Hutch, doing the work. And Phil's going to walk up and drop it in for a 2. Really, beautiful. Really creative birdie. And just big power. Hole 3A, Mike.
Adam, let me ask you this time, what do you play on this?
So I'm gonna try that hard hyzer down the right-hand side and probably land in that bush you see right up there, not quite at the basket. We'll see if Antonio shows us that line. Took it in round one, made it all the way down there. Took it in round two. He's about 30 feet off the tee. Very, very difficult line to execute. Josiah going for the gut shot, makes it all the way down, and is going to have 2 birdies on the day on hole 3A. And that's pretty cool. So Phil hit the line. That was it, and that's everything you're hoping for. Just a beautiful execution for that right-hand line. Proof that it does exist. We'll let the card do the commentary on that throw.
Yeah.
Antonio does really well to push it up near the basket. And Hutch cleaning up for the birdie.
Not the way he intended it.
You don't know that. You don't know that for sure. We didn't ask him.
True. I'd take him out one of these days, ask him to show me that line.
You should. You should. And if anyone ever gets a chance to play around with Hutch, they should, because he is easily one of the most pleasant and kind human beings I have ever had the pleasure of knowing and playing golf with.
I will second that.
And Phil with a dainty drop in. Hole 4. All right. So as we said in the first round, this is a hole where you are hoping to get a birdie here. 423 feet. It's averaging under par. Plenty of chances you can go big off the tee, short off the tee, and still give yourself a chance. So let's see what the guys have for us today. Josiah starts it down the left-hand lane. It's got some turn, but just needed a little more height. Still, he's about halfway down the fairway and should be able to manufacture a clean-up shot from there. Phil, good height, down the fattest part of the fairway, drifts it all the way back to the right. Good drive there. Hutch sends it down the middle of the fairway. A little lower than he wanted, but he found an excellent landing zone there. It's a perfectly competent tee shot. Antonio with a lot of turn on that disc. Really pushes the fairway, turns the catch cam, and is also probably going to be looking at a birdie. But a really fantastic tee shot. Josiah with a good-looking forehand there, catches the last tree it needed to miss. He'll be a little bit outside for the birdie, but I'm sure he'll be giving it a shot. Hutch with a clean forehand up shot, puts him right at the edge of the circle. And Phil from over here on the right side of the fairway looks to send something down towards the basket, drifts it close, and pushes it a little bit long. That tree could very well find itself to be in his way. We'll have to see in a moment here. Antonio with a good upshot. Oh, there's Josiah. And there's Josiah's birdie.
There it is.
Great putt from just outside the circle there. Hutch from probably just outside, maybe circle's edge.
And it sticks in.
Gets it in over the rim. And Phil leaning way out to avoid that tree, but no trouble. Great putt. So a bunch of birdies there on hole 4, which is exactly what we were hoping for. Tell me about hole 5.
That was the first time today.
What did you think of hole 5 for the tournament?
Like I said, we talked about that OB on the left can be pretty punishing if, some people wanted to take the forehand route to play it safe. The turnovers were risky.
Agreed. Yeah, forehand a little safer. You just can't get it flat or drifting out to the left. Turnover, you just have to make sure it doesn't hyzer out to the left. Either way, the mission of this hole is do not finish to the left. Phil actually taking a more inside route, but really tight fairway to fly there. I'm sure the OB had something to do with that decision. Hutch with a good looking forehand. Skip it in. Oh my gosh, he's knocked it off the chains. Oh wow. Look at this. Just perfect. Never got to flat. Stayed on hyzer the whole time.
Just
perfect skip up to the chain.
In and out.
And a basket that just refuses to hold on to it. What a shame. What a great tee shot. And Antonio with a fantastic turnover backhand right down the fairway. Drifts it up to the basket. Soft finish. Beautiful. Beautiful. But man, Hutch, I really would have liked to have seen that for you, pal. That was just an absolutely fantastic drive. Deserved the ace. Well done. Josiah's upshot leaves a little bit to be desired. Hyzer's out to the left. He'll have a pretty routine putt. And Phil from probably at the edge of the circle, maybe even a little outside, just can't quite connect. Antonio with a really uncharacteristic miss there. That's a shame to see. Just got hung up as in his hand. Maybe the mind-hand connection just wasn't there. Phil puts it back. Antonio will have to tap this in for a very frustrating par. Happy to see it stick. All right, he'll want to shake that one off for sure. And after Josiah taps in for the par, Hutch will get to put in an absolutely spectacular birdie. Blew up the basket. Cannot wait to watch that on repeat for a while. Thanks for capturing that, Hyzer Media. That's a fantastic thing to have. Hole 6, 306 par 3. The right-hand fairway is going to be the prescribed line. There's a flex forehand that can work out really well, and you can gut shot straight down the middle. But again, you cannot go left because that's where the OB is. Hutch tries more for that middle lane, catches the center tree, and kicks out to the right. Josiah's going to show us a very creative forehand. He's going to fly down the middle, not too much turn. Hopefully, pushes it a little long. Good tree, and he's pin high. Great drive. Antonio down route 1. Catch a good angle, miss a tree. Couldn't miss the tree. Kicks off to the right, but no danger from that. Phil misses most of the center tree, but catches some of it and spits out forward. Hutch from an awkward lie. Big skip. Tree just wasn't there to help. He'll have a long look to save the 3. And Phil with a big outside look for the 2. Just about does it. Great height, great line. Antonio from circle 2. Skips off the top of the basket, doesn't go too far. And let's see if Hutch can clean this up.
Oof.
Good line. Good line, just a little short on the height. He'll have to settle for a frustrating bogey there, but I imagine the adrenaline of blowing up the chains on hole 5 had something to do with that one. Antonio being perfectly thorough with his routine on that putt, and good to see it go in. Mike, you know that feeling, right? After you throw a perfect drive and splash out of the chains, and then you have to go play the next hole. You know that feeling, right?
Oh, all the time.
Me too. Me too. Very common.
I know you said you
Hey,
assumed that's what happened and got in his head, but I was thinking at the time, I don't know if I can relate to that.
oh, sure you can. It happens all the time. Happens for all of us.
All right, 7 being a straight shot up the middle, 276. Plays a little bit above the 3 for average, but we talked about this in the first round. It's really, it's tempting to go up the middle, but there's a couple creative sort of Annie lines and things like that in there.
Creativity's great, but if you're able to throw a dead straight shot like Josiah just did, and
Yeah.
slide it up to the basket. Antonio tries to do the same. It looks like he just put maybe a little too much hyzer and caught the middle tree. Phil up next. Had a great drive in round 1. Similar height. And calling for it to settle. He's not scaring the OB, but he is a little long and left. He's going to have a long look for the 2. And Hutch kind of played it from the outside in. I'm a little bit worried about the height and the distance. I don't. Oh, gosh. That's a shame. It's a big throw to find the OB where he did. I'm sure he's going to be a little frustrated with that, but very close. Very, very close. Let's get a look at the basket here. Yeah. He'll have a chance.
Tempted to blame the guy who painted the lines, I'll be honest.
Well, I would tend to agree with you in most other circumstances. In this case, the guy who painted the lines couldn't possibly be to blame. Josiah stacking up birdies.
Nice
I
birdie.
mean, just playing such tremendously consistent golf. And if we haven't said enough about it, I apologize. Hutch with a very frustrating error there is going to have to tap this one back in from the other side of the basket. And move on to hole 8 with a short memory, I hope. That's a frustrating hole there. But Josiah really has just been very consistently doing his job, throwing the shots that are asked of him, making the putts he needs to make from circle's edge and such to not miss any opportunities, and is just playing a terrific day of golf here. It's a lot of fun to watch. Hole 8 is right there in front of you at 329 feet. Averaging above par, likely due to the OB. It's going to circle the fairway here, including the bushes on the right-hand side and the tall grass on the left.
We saw several people on round 1 go OB left on that, just hyzered out a little too much, so we'll see how this goes.
And these guys with big distance are also going to have to be sensitive of the distance control, easy to go OB long. Josiah is not going to have any such problem as he throws just another beautiful drive into the circle. Antonio is going to be hoping to match that. One of those players who did slide OB in round 1, hopefully able to make an adjustment, scares the basket, but again, long.
Oh.
And this time on the correct side of the line.
As close as he could be.
Phil was our other player in round 1 who pushed it to the OB left. We'll see if he can adjust. And obviously, none of these statements are spoiler alerts because anyone listening to me now has already seen round 1.
Of course.
And if not, let me just take this moment to encourage you to go check out round 1. It was fantastic. Hutch off the tee. Leaks it a little bit to the right, and I'm a little worried about the OB in that bunker bush there. He'll have the opportunity to take it back to about here and have to work something on an angle around, and unfortunately he's going to settle for another bogey. Phil from circle 2 kissed the basket and did really well to throw the type of putt that was always going to stay close. Antonio trying to step one in from just outside the circle, inside of OB, not to be. And Josiah from right about the edge of the circle catches the front of the cage. And I suspect we have 4 frustrated players here today after hole 8. Phil will tap in and take us over to hole 9.
Hole 9 being one that can be very punishing, right? So we have 474 feet, open to start, and then a very tight hallway to kind of get down, and a bunch of guardian trees to get past. So you got to play this one really cleanly, safe, and every shot counts on this. There's no making up for any mistakes.
No, there's not. Playing half a stroke above par with no OB just kind of gives you an idea of the natural teeth this hole is going to have. Josiah makes it past the red tee, but a little short of the mouth. He'll have a chance to work one down the tunnel. Antonio lining up the forehand again, and looks good out of the hand. It's all about where the finish is. Pushes it way into the hallway, which is fantastic, but that right-hand finish is going to make for a very challenging second shot. Phil going to show us the backhand, looking to put it right in the mouth of the tunnel there. And it's safe to say he's done exactly that. And Hutch will round us out with another forehand attempt. Again, looking to just sort of park the mouth of the tunnel. Can't tell from the reaction, but I don't think he loved it. And no, it looks like he got caught up there by the red tee. Halfway down the tunnel will be plenty here. That's fine.
And that's what he does.
Just has to give himself a chance at the upshot. Josiah is going to be looking to get a little bit more out of this shot, but that forces him up high into the tree, and he's going to settle off to the rough to the right. I hope he's able to manufacture an upshot. Phil with just a beautiful frisbee throw. Slides it up right next to the basket. Hutch with the upshot, and is unfortunate to find a tree a little bit early in the flight. It's going to be a really long look for the par. Josiah similarly came up just a little bit on the short side of that. And Antonio from deep in the rough, doing very well to get it up near the
Nice
basket.
recovery there.
Hutch giving it a good bid, had the height, just couldn't find the bottom of the basket. And Josiah with a little step out from behind a tree and doesn't seem to be bothered by it at all.
Saved it.
Antonio with a great birdie there. And Phil, 2 rounds in a row. Putter, putter, birdie, birdie. Can't ask for much more. Hutch forced to settle for a bogey there. We'll shake that off as we head over to hole 10. Hole 10, par 4, 695 feet. Averaging just over par. Requires a big hyzer shot off the tee, backhand hyzer. There's a fascinating flex forehand play or a big lefty turnover play for some players, but I don't think the wind is cooperating for that today. So I'm expecting big hyzers like this, just trying to get around the bend and give yourself a clean look for the second shot. Antonio has done exactly that. Phil looking up for a similar line, gets it up in the air, got it drifting to the left. Has no trouble with the far tree line this time and puts it in a prime landing zone. Let's see if Josiah can stack up another one. Swings it out a little bit more wide. Has a good finish. Very happy with that. And Hutch with a lower, more penetrating line, but beats the corner no problem, gets a good skip, and those are 4 Very good tee shots here on hole 10.
I don't know how you feel, Adam. I feel like when
What
I
a
play this
beautiful
one,
turnover.
it's always the second shot that is kind of the make or break on this hole.
Absolutely. And Hutch just threw a beautiful turnover, big distance second shot, gave himself a chance at the three. Josiah looking to do similarly, a little bit lower out of the hand, very flippy disc, keeps it out of the trees, but doesn't get the full flight he was looking for. Antonio a little more direct, challenges the right side tree line, catches a little bit of shrubbery, circle two, maybe just outside for a chance. And Phil with the long drive lets it go early. That's very unfortunate. The kick doesn't seem to be helpful at all. Looks like it pushed him deep into the woods there. Can't even see him through the trees. You just hope he's able to get out in one. He is, and able to make up some really good distance there, too. Going to be a very difficult putt, but did really well to recover. Josiah lays one up there, calling for it to sit. Pushes towards the edge of the circle, but I think he's going to be okay. Hutch with an upshot, does well. And Antonio's going to struggle with these overhanging branches. Skips it off the tray. And Phil with a really nice putt from probably just outside the circle. Josiah does well there to clean up the par. And Hutch will be looking to do the same from just outside the bullseye. Josiah continues to keep it clean, maintaining the lead. Antonio doing really well to try to match the pace from round one to keep it close, but it's looking like Josiah's just really dialed in. Doesn't seem to be experiencing any nerves. It's not showing any signs of it. Of course, obviously, that brings us to the end of round two, front 11. We certainly hope you're going to join us on the back 11 for the Long Island Open 2024, presented by Long Island Disc Golf on Heiser Media. Check out the socials. Make sure you're following for some great coverage coming up through the off season. And we really hope we're going to see you on the back nine. We are expecting fireworks. We've seen some absolutely terrific golf. Hope it continues.